Average sale price, as everybody knows, it has skyrocketed. So from last February in Oxford County, the average is up 34.5%. Biggest increase is Ingersoll at 41%.
The recent events, including the interest rate hike and then, of course, the international conflict, Russia, Ukraine, how has that affected your market?
Because it has an immediate impact on people, they're noticing a $30, $40, $50, $100 difference every week in their paychecks. I think it has slowed things down a little bit.
It's the toilet paper of 2022.
It sure is. It sure is. That's a good way of putting it.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Canadian Real Estate Channel. I have Jay Friesen on the show. But first off, I'm Andrew Hines. I'm a real estate investor, and I've taken over the channel for the month to do the market updates. If you want to find out more about me, I do host a real estate podcast. You can just search my name, Andrew Hines, on any of the platforms. I invest both in Ontario and Florida at the moment. And But enough about that for the moment. Let's go ahead and talk to Jay, who's going to give us an update on Woodstock, Ingersoll, and Tillsonburg, which is actually very close to my heart because I was born in Tillsonburg and grew up there and the Woodstock area, so in my old neighborhood. First off, Jay, thanks for doing this.
Andrew, it's a pleasure. I'm glad to be sitting here with you today. I've watched a lot of your podcasts and enjoy them every time.
Well, that's great to hear. I really appreciate that. So I understand you actually have a presentation. You gave me a little sneak peek of it, and it looks great. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into that.
That sounds good. All right. So again, this is the February 2022 Oxford County update. I'm mostly focusing on Woodstock, Tillsonburg, and Ingersoll, the three big players in the Oxford County area. First of all, I want to talk about two organizations. Woodstock Minor Baseball and United Way of Oxford. So anybody who investing here or lives here, how strong suggest you either volunteer or help out in a local organization. I have coached for Woodstock Minor Ball and been involved on the Woodstock board. So I strongly suggest people look into that if they're looking for volunteering or having your kids play. And United Way Oxford, I was a sponsored employee there for 4 months when I worked for Toyota. So I have firsthand knowledge of how they spend their money on local organizations trying to help out, and how they are very frugal and none of the money is wasted. So it's a good organization to either volunteer or donate your money. So those two associations are very close to my heart. All right, so we'll get into the statistics. So for the Oxford County historical new listings data, you can see we had quite a big jump there in February. As in every February, it goes up a little bit, but this February we did have quite a few new listings, and it's continued into March. We have our historical sales data, which again outperformed 2021. That was up a fair bit again, which is typical of this time of year.
So more activity overall, more listings, more sales.
Yes.
And now the generalization of, most of Ontario has been crazy for quite some time now. Does Woodstock fall into that category?
It sure does.
Okay.
I know we're into March now, and we do have a little bit of a slower time. We have more houses in the market, so better for buyers, but still the sales and new listings are just hitting records.
Yeah. Now, and I've been asked this the last couple of times, the recent events, including the interest rate hike and then, of course, the international conflict, Russia, Ukraine, how has that affected your market?
In my opinion, the biggest factor has been the price of gas. Since the conflict started, I know we had the interest rates went up. Didn't really see much of a slowdown, but then the conflict started, and we've seen a slowdown in showings, whether it's people not driving from distances to come see our properties or what it is. But I think the price of gas, because it has an immediate impact on people, they're noticing a $30, $40, $50, $100 difference every week in their paychecks. I think it has slowed things down a little bit.
It's the toilet paper of 2022.
It sure is. It sure is. That's a good way of putting it.
What are we at? What are we at this morning? Did you drive by a gas station?
It was $1.68 when I drove by this morning. It has been up to $1.85, I believe, in Woodstock. So it's gone down, but still a far cry from what it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
I think, just before we dive into the data, it's important to remember that people are emotional, and when they see things that frighten them or cause uncertainty, they pause, and that creates opportunities for investors. Now, what that opportunity is, that takes some thinking and refinement, but maybe we can discern what the opportunities are towards the end of this update. But I'll let you continue on through your update here.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. So I said I do have the historical sales data. We just did Oxford County, and this is the 3 major players. So for Woodstock, for February, it did exceed expectations again. Sales data was up over 80 units. For Tillsonburg, it was up again a little bit, quite a bit more than last month, and Tillsonburg has saw quite the increase. Ingersoll, not so much. For some reason, it hasn't grown as much. It was 2021 outperformed this year in February. Our historical new listings data for Woodstock, up again from last year. We are seeing quite an increase in new listings. In Tillsonburg, same thing. We do have a lot of, you'll see later on, townhouses that have come on the market in different areas. So the new listings are up. And then historical for Ingersoll. Sales didn't outperform last month, but new listings did. So we are up a little bit in that category. So here it's the percentage-wise. So Oxford County, we're up 26.3% over last February for new listings. Woodstock 17.1%. Tillsonburg up 50%. And Ingersoll up 19%. And for sales, Oxford County, we had 81 total sales, up 12%. And saw Tillsonburg as being the biggest increase there at 32%.
So a big big takeaway here is listings are increasing faster than sales at the moment.
Yes, yeah, and you'll see my last slide has current inventory, which has doubled since last month at this time. Average sale price, as everybody knows, it has skyrocketed. So from last February in Oxford County, the average is up 34.5%. Biggest increase is Ingersoll at 41%. Mostly Ingersoll has a lot of new housing that they're putting in the market, but and they have less. Obviously, the numbers are a little bit skewed because they have less sales than the bigger players like Woodstock, and Woodstock's up 32.6%. Average days on market remains relatively the same. Oxford County, it's down a little bit, but Woodstock stayed the same with 7 days on the market. Tillsonburg has decreased to 8 days on the market, and Ingersoll is averaging 6 days on the market.
So everything diving there at the end, is that an accurate, or is that because the month's not completed? Like, why is everything diving at the end there?
That could be, the scare of the interest rates a little bit, but that is accurate data. This data is taken as of March, second week of March. So
our days on market are actually much lower currently. Everything's sort of come down, meaning that the activity is still happening.
Activity is still happening.
Yeah.
There is some that are on the market longer, but for the most part, with people holding offers and taking preemptives, it does decrease time in the market for the most part.
And average sale price is still on its way up, with the exception of Ingersoll for some reason.
Yes. Well, Ingersoll, the average sales price is up 41% from last year.
Overall, but I just mean month over month, it looks like it's down a bit.
And again, that data is skewed. Last month, there wasn't very many sales in Ingersoll, and most of them were high dollar volume sales.
Right. So smaller market, it's easier for outliers to skew the number and make
You're
it look
exactly
different.
right.
Yeah.
And that's why some of these data, even price per square foot, which I will get into, the bottom one there, price per square foot, I don't use that as a guiding tool for me, because if you look at some of the listings, not everybody puts in their below grade finished square footage, which does take into, it does skew the numbers a little bit, and not all numbers are 100% accurate there, but I did include it for our presentation. We'll go to the top slide for dollar volume of sales. We're up 51% from last February, so hit $152 million in Oxford County.
Wow.
Yeah, Woodstock was up 54.7% to almost 70 million. And then Tillsonburg up 73.3%, and then Ingersoll up 30%.
So I guess we know where all that money printing went.
Yes, you're exactly right. I don't know.
All hanging out in Woodstock.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good place to be. Two things I wanted to highlight were townhouses and semi-detached. So for the top graph for sales for townhouses, we were up 233% for townhouse sales in Woodstock from last February. We do have a lot more development coming, and a lot of our development is the townhouse market. So that attributes to that. Also, a lot of resale. Typically, we've seen investors buy a property, hold on to it for a year, and then try and sell it after the year. And that seems to be what happened in Woodstock a little bit. And then for semi-detached, we were down a little bit there. We don't have too many semis on the market. Oxford County total was up 12.5%. Woodstock was down 25%. So there's only 9 listings total for semis for the month of February. I did this last time as well, Andrew, with Woodstock Future Development and Opportunity. Last time I went over some big projects that were on the go. This month I have a lot of small projects. So there's a lot of people that own big chunks of land, and we're trying to get more housing into Woodstock, and this is another way we're trying to get it done. People own big chunks of land. They're trying to get applications into the city to have their land rezoned from R1 to R2, or whatever the case may be. In this case, there's currently a single house on this property. They're trying to get it to be able to have 4 new single detached dwellings, which is a lot of good housing for Woodstock. We do have another property here that's zoned R1, trying to get it to zoned R3 special to have 6 townhouse dwelling units in addition to the 1 existing single detached unit. So again, more infill to current existing land. And I'm sure you know from your projects, Andrew, they need to meet certain criteria.
Yeah.
Obviously, if there's a house out close to the road, it has to have certain allowance
Setbacks.
On the side, setbacks, yes.
Yeah.
And yet, I think it's 18 feet or 20 feet for emergency vehicles to get back to anything behind an existing house.
Yeah. So you might have to rip that house down. Yeah.
That's right. And
what you're talking about here is like a development proposal, potentially, right? Like you might even be able to put a few houses in.
That's right.
This is why I always tell people, and I said this on the last update, but I'll say it again, buy houses that have extra land attached to them, even if it's useless now. You never know, Woodstock might update their bylaws and all of a sudden something that you couldn't do something with, now you can.
That's right. And as well as I do, Woodstock's a little bit behind the times in Oxford County a little bit as far as allowing infill or being freely rezoning properties. But I have some good news on that front as well coming up. So I do have one larger project here. This is, again, an application. It's not a confirmed plan, but this plan here is a subdivision plan to accommodate 420 single detached dwelling lots, 212 townhouse units, 649 apartment dwelling units, 1 park block, 2 parkettes, and so on and so on. So a lot of infill and a lot of new developments coming, trying to get people into Woodstock. I know from my experience at Toyota, we have lots of people that work there, but a lot of people can't move to Woodstock because there's no housing. This is going to help support more jobs in Woodstock and people actually being able to live where they work.
Yeah, this seems to be where all the cities in Ontario, and it's because Ontario has an official plan which they dictate to the cities what they have to do. They don't want intensification in new areas. They want intensification in existing areas, which is why they're not going to give you necessarily an approval out of town. But if you come in and you say, I want to develop this large lot in town, they're more receptive to that kind of thing. And probably going to see that happening in Woodstock more and more. So this type of project, I'm sure it's one of the earlier of many.
Yes, that's for sure. And this is what I was talking about earlier as far as amendments. So Woodstock did have passing of their plan amendment, where the purpose and effect of the official plan amendment is a relatively high level, enabling tight policies that will reflect and implement the current provincial direction on additional residential units while establishing a comprehensive suite of review criteria, yada, yada, yada. You read that on the Woodstock website anytime you want, but in a nutshell, as you can see, the additional residential units, it does say the development of additional residential units within the low density residential districts shall be encouraged where appropriate, with the goal objective of increasing the range and availability of affordable housing options.
Is this the actual bylaw that you're reading?
This is the actual bylaw.
I've never seen wording like that in a
Yep.
bylaw. It's actually hilarious. It's so non-committal. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to encourage it.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be, and that's exactly what it says. Shall be encouraged.
Shall sometime in the future.
Yeah, and as we all know, it gets to the next city council, which will be coming in the next little bit. So that could change, could be better, it could be could slow things down. We're hoping that it gets better. So with that, I'm just going to go with our current availability. This is as of March 17th. So we have gone up as far as units available. For multi-residential, Woodstock really has the only inventory of 8 units. The days in the market range from 6 to 71. So there is still some overpriced units. And I was telling Rebecca last month, a lot of people are pricing their multi-residentials at future value. They currently have somebody renting for $1,000 a month, but are valuing at a potential rent of $1,800 a month. So, kicking your tenant out, doing that kind of thing is holding some of these houses back from being sold.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's all supply and demand to these people. So if they see other markets and, investors are going after and paying top dollar, if you're getting the offers, or you just keep your price high.
That's right. That's exactly right. Eventually it will sell. If you're not in a hurry, just keep it there.
Yeah. So ultimately what they're saying is we're not in a hurry.
That's right. That's right. I got it rented. The chances are they bought it 20 years ago for 1/10 of the price and are just able to float it. So we got residential leases. So Tillsonburg seems to be a hotspot still for residential leases. And this is just only obviously on Realtor. There is still the Facebook Marketplace and those places where you do find your rentals. But Tillsonburg does have a lot. There is development in the north side of Tillsonburg, Hayho Homes. There's a lot of investors that have bought properties there that are properties coming on the market, roughly $2,300 to $2,800, $2,900 a month. Do go up to $3,000 a month. So residential, we noticed a big jump. And this is as of March 17th. There's 47 units on the MLS system for Woodstock. That's up from 22 last month at the end of January. So we've come up quite a bit. Tillsonburg's up to 12 and Ingersoll to 11, and days in the market, that ranges from 0 to 21 days currently. So
that's insane. You're at 22 last month. Like, just think about that. Like, the entire city, you're on realtor.ca and there's 22 dots.
Yes.
That's wild.
It is crazy. And so they're sitting on the market a little bit longer. I think last month, I believe the longest was 12 days. There is a couple houses that are, again, people don't need to sell, so they might be holding on to them a little bit longer, keeping them at the same price rather than reducing them. That's what's going on.
So do you still see multiple offers situations happening given the recent slowdown, or, is that not a thing anymore, or was that just a little blip and people are right back at it?
Oh, it depends on the property, Andrew. I had a client who offered on a property. It was two properties on the market at the exact same time. I had one that was for sale. It needed a lot of renovations in the basement. I had 8 offers on it. When another property the exact same week is on the market, one of my clients got to buy it. They were the only offer.
Okay.
So around the same price, the one that needed more work got sold for quite a bit more than the one that didn't need any work, and they're very good neighborhoods. So it depends on the property, but we are still seeing some mostly multiple offers on most properties.
Okay. So is it the same amount of multiple offers, or maybe a few less offers, but still multiple?
It's definitely a few less.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a few less. And last month we just threw this out there about inflation going up, interest rates. Inventory last month was up. Was down. This month it's up. So we know, from my opinion, things are still okay for sellers, still a seller's market, but there's also more opportunity for buyers in this market with things, a lot more inventory coming up. Some people holding on to properties, not willing to accept a certain dollar amount. But there is more opportunity for buyers at the current moment.
Yeah, I think, it's great to, if your goal is to be in Ontario, or if your goal is to be in Woodstock and you want to acquire units there, little blips like what just happened could be like a fantastic opportunity. And if that's your goal, you shouldn't be ignoring this time period. You should definitely be, watching the market and seeing if these deals work for you.
That's right. Especially that you're an investor. You don't have to sell to buy. then you're good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just our immigration policy doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. We're bringing 400,000 people into the country every year when we can only produce 200,000 new houses. It's a recipe for disaster on top of the money printing. So I think real estate prices are sort of that yo-yo on an escalator going up, up and down as they go up, right? Yeah. So nothing's for sure. And yeah, sure, we could have a correction, but it feels like you got to take these little wins sometimes if you're trying to get in any Ontario market really at this point.
That's right. And that's the thing. Most of the immigration now, people are coming into the country, they have money to buy houses. They're not.
Yeah, they didn't have to earn it in our tax structure.
That's right.
They got to earn it where they weren't paying as much tax.
Yes, that's right. So they have money so they can, that's causing havoc in some of the little markets. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. There's so many layers to that onion. We could be here for hours talking about all that stuff.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay. So yeah, inflation's gone up. It's still going up, especially the price of gas lately. We have seen up to, I was talking to Peter, but we went to like $1.85 was the most I saw in Woodstock. We're currently down to $1.65, 66. So it has gone down a little bit. I think that does have a direct impact on people buying as well. Mortgage rate goes up, buy interest rates go up by 0.25%, makes $20, $30 is a difference on your payment, where gas prices go up, it's an immediate $50, $100 a week, potentially, on how far you're driving. And companies, who knows how much they're spending. So that does have that could be why the inventory is staying in the market a little bit longer too. People aren't as willing to buy, but
yeah, a number of factors, right? A lot of uncertainty.
That's for sure. Yeah, a lot of uncertainty. And that's it for my presentation, Andrew. One thing I do want to say is I have modified your cash flow analyzer.
Okay.
I use that sheet quite often. I did modify it so I have a few numbers where I just type in if I pay $700,000 or $600,000 or $500,000, it gives me my automatic return on investment or that type of thing, where I just change my expenses a little bit. I love that worksheet. So thank you for sharing that and making it free to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, well, glad you're getting use out of it. And one of the things I didn't do with that sheet is I never actually built in a built-in Burr calculator, because there's an easy enough way to just kind of put that together. But maybe that's the next iteration of that sheet, if you don't want to do the extra 2 steps to add in the number. But glad it's useful. And yeah, for anyone else who wants to use my cash flow analyzer spreadsheet, I think Matt has one too. But you can just go to my website, andrew-hines.com. And there's on the menu bar just a cash flow tab, and you can download it there. Cool. Well, Jay, one thing I wanted to ask you is, and I've asked the other people this too, who have done updates with, is knowing what's happening right now, what are the 1 or 2 things that investors should be thinking about or doing to make sure they can take advantage of opportunities that are coming?
Have your money ready and be ready to travel to go see houses. So I have a lot of investors coming from Toronto way, where it's, can I see the house on Saturday and it's a Tuesday? No, you need to be able to go right away, or have a trusted agent or person somewhere in those markets ready to say, yes, this is a good buy. That's not a good buy. So just be immediately ready to do it and pull the trigger.
I think some people who are clear on what they want to buy, they're just waiting for it to come up, right? They almost don't even need to see it if they got I know you're not supposed to do this and I'm not recommending it, but you got a realtor that you trust. And I've done it, but again, not recommending that. You gotta do what you're comfortable with and make sure you dot your I's, cross your T's. And
especially if it's an investment property and work needs to be done. You trust somebody and take a few extra pictures that aren't on the listing or whatever, but you still have somebody trusted. You'll be able to help on it.
Yeah, timeliness is going to be critical, right? If you reschedule for 3 days later, all of a sudden deal's gone, right? So I think that goes back to you really do need to know your numbers. You need to know what you're looking for and why.
Yeah.
If you're just like, oh, send me what you got, but I don't know exactly what I want. Well, that's not really going to work in this market.
Yeah. And then also contractors. So as we know, there's a shortage of contractors and even materials now. So if you have a trusted agent that potentially has those people, or you're already in a certain market, just build those relationships with different contractors, even take them over coffee. So they can prioritize your projects over somebody else's potentially.
Yeah, and treat them well, pay them fast.
That's right.
Keep them wanting to come back.
Keep them happy.
Yeah, don't haggle unreasonably. Obviously get decent, reasonable pricing, but don't be unreasonable with it.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so where do people find you if they want to connect with you, Jay?
First of all, we have our team website. So Jennifer Gale's my team leader, and I really enjoy working on our team. So you can go to the Jenny G website. You can go to Instagram, my Instagram at Jay Friesen Real Estate. I have a YouTube channel, Jay Friesen Real Estate. You can Google me, do whatever, search my name, and you'll more than likely get in contact with me, or call me at 519-536-6542. That's usually where I am. I have my phone handy all the time. Texting is usually the easiest. I usually get back to you within a couple minutes. So.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Jay. Really appreciate it. Anyone wants to reach me, it's at the Andrew Hines on Instagram, or you can just search my name on any of the podcast platforms. Thank you very much for being here and watching this update. And until next time, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.